Hello, 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 Crafty Chris here for another Scrap Your Scraps. So I have an interesting challenge today. I just finished doing a couple of layouts and I have all these bits left over. They're sort of coordinating, but I want to see if I can do something with them rather than putting them into my craft stash and then trying to figure out what to do with them afterwards. So I'm just going to sort of get them into three piles maybe. Cardstock, that's all the same color. And zip strips. Some of them have interesting bits on them, so I'm going to put them just to the side. I have a couple of these white things. I'm going to call them zip strips too. It's a brown one. And I have some of these little pieces of paper that have sayings on them. Little bit of, like very little bit of paper left over on that. This is interesting. There's two different things I was working on, but they are similar in color. So I want to try to build something. I've got dark and light cardstock, craft paper, bits and pieces of blue and green paper. Let me turn over on that side first. That can go here. Oh, look at a doily. Okay. Oh, look at those. Those are cool too. They kind of go in with everything that's going on. All right, I'm already seeing something here. All righty. So I'm gonna use this for mounting pictures. So I'll just keep that to the side. This I like. And so I'm not sure where I'm going to put that yet, but I think I kind of like that to be, I think my base paper is not 12 by 12. Oh, well. That would be kind of an interesting sort of element on one side of the page. Maybe on this side. White on white would be okay, but okay, these are all sayings. Not big on white, so we'll keep that to the side. That's pretty. That's kind of interesting. This could be a masculine layout. And this is more sayings, a little bit of that. This already has kind of a bracket happening. So that could go on something else, couldn't it? So maybe something like that. I would cut the top off. Something like that. Cut the top off of that. It's already got kind of a brackety thing. Or maybe that brackety thing could go here. And then this could be underneath or something. Got some dark green stuff happening here. Little bits of paper. Okay, and this has coffee on it. A lot of white in it. Light and airy could be a working. Again, this has little bits and pieces. I may not use that. This has a nice green that melts. More things. Blue. Blue could bring in some of the blue in that. or in that. So that is a possibility. Here's a small piece of that. Let's see. Blue. More cups. More sayings. This is from the other pack. Doesn't work for me on this layout. More sayings. Oh, I like that. Sometimes the smallest things take up the most room in your heart. And there's some more of that. Okay, without even opening up what's going on here, let me just make sure I don't want to add anything from here. Don't want to do white on white. There's a bit of a green stripe there. I'm going to wait on that. All right, I think I can already see something happening. Not sure about that after all. So I like the idea of coffee and friends. But also I like the idea of paw prints. So this. So those are my dog-related things. I've got some extra bits of text here that I could add in. Let's just pull that aside. Let's just pull that aside. Let's see. So there I just have some little bits of text. Kind of doing a double layering. Those I kind of like as my pieces of ephemera. Something very quick. I'm just looking for something that jazzes me as a bit of a break on here. Alrighty, it's going to be the blue that I had somewhere. Oh, the blue that I had was on the back of that one. Ooh, don't want to get rid of that. So those things. Alright, I'm going to cut these quickly. So I'm not doing a lot of explaining, but I'm just kind of showing you that, you know, even your random pieces that you have left over after building pages, you can just continue and use them all up and create that one extra page or two extra pages if you can. This I'm just going to trim down. Sorry, I'm off camera here, but just going to trim this down. That looks good. All right. So what I'm thinking here is I already like the idea of the double border and then this mat in the center. I like this. Sometimes the smallest things take up the most room in your heart, and everyone thinks they have the best dog, and none of them are wrong. That's kind of fun. This one is, a dog is the only thing on earth that loves you more than he loves himself. Those are great sayings, but I mean, it could be any saying, right? It wouldn't have to be about dogs, but just taking some contrasting pieces from what's left over, building that corner. Oh, I should have probably snapped this off. Yeah, it's not quite square, but that's all right. Actually, I can fix that this way. There we go. All right, now I want to double matte these things, but I'm thinking that the green is just going to be a little bit too light. Be fine on there. This is latte and espresso in the background. That kind of flattens it out. It doesn't stand out very much on that one. Oh, but this has some black. That would go with the black and brown that's happening there. No, too much pattern. What about something like that? And I don't mind this being on the coffee paper because the color is about the same. Maybe what if I double matted that just to give it some interest? That would be kind of good. Alrighty. Like literally, I'm just throwing this together in my brain on the fly. So if I get these pieces matted, see, I don't really like that. That's not going to work for me. And on the back is same. Okay, so these things will go into another packet. Yeah, I can't draw that in either. Okay, so I'm not really, nothing's jazzing me in this pile, so we're just going to put that to the side. And I might take that or not. Okay, so I am definitely going to use this, and I don't even mind the thickness of it. So we're gonna trim that down just a tiny bit because I just cut that a little weirdly. There we go. Now that's nice and straight. I'm gonna put this on here. I'm gonna mat that right away. Do I antique it? No. Yeah, no. Yeah, no. I never quite make that decision. No. We're gonna keep it the way it is. So I just need my adhesive. Luckily I have a pet and I have pet paper stuff. You will have some other theme. And I'm going to try to get this mounted more or less, eyeballing it. Centered on 3 sides. There we go. And then I'll just put that in there and trim it about the same. There we go. So there's one mat. This one, so that piece I cannot use. Now do I peach this with the green on top? Oop. Or do I do that? Okay, so let me dig in here and just make sure I don't have any pieces that are small that I can use. Nope, I do not. And this is the green that I don't need because it's not jazzing me. All right, so we're going to do this one. And literally this is just going to be cut. I'm kind of giving myself a 1/16 of an inch, maybe a little more for that peach. And then I'm going to trim that down. to about the same all the way around. There we go. And then I'm going to put that on here and do the same amount all the way around. I just happen to have these sayings in the kit. I could do this with other imagery. There we go. You know, or other decorative pieces or sayings in whatever came with the kit that you pull from. And I'm always a little bit shorter on one side. Isn't that interesting? Must be my eyeglasses. So I'm just going to center this a little bit better. There we go. So there's one, there's two. I'm going to corner around that to make it a little more interesting. And I'm going to use my inverted corner rounder because there's an inverted corner on there. Just put that in. And, oh, what happened there? Okay, it's not big enough. So we're just going to corner round it. No, I can't get it corner rounded. No. Okay, sticking with my original plan. Corner rounding with the inverted corner rounder, which does not seem to be working for me. There we go, doing something just a little bit different. So I just used the one that had the two little bumps to create this. And it worked out quite well. Wasn't what I was originally going for, but turned out fine. Alrighty, so there's my corner rounders. Put it back in the container. Okay. And this guy needs something. Something. So, I don't think that's going to be a good choice. No. And we got enough of the peach. Don't have any of the blue. Am I going to force myself to use peach on this? I don't want to use peach. And that's too late. Okay, I may have to delve into, oh, maybe not. Let me see how many pieces. Yeah, no, I'm going to have to delve into the leftover papers that are in that paper pack because I don't have anything big enough. I can't even double something up either. Oh, sorry, dropped something. Okay, so let's see what's left here. Don't want that. Too white. Don't want that. See, that's not really going to show up anyway. Yeah, no, it doesn't have enough small enough pattern. Don't like that, don't like that. Oh, there we go. Perfect. So we're going to do this on here with a little bit of a border. I'm going to make sure I think I'll take it from this end. There we go. That looks good. So I'm using up a little bit more than the 6 inches of paper here. And I'm going to sort of center it, making sure that that hole doesn't show. And I'm going to put this in my cutter. I'll cut longwise first. So right about there. That would not be enough. No. I think I'm going to trim this a little bit at a time. Yeah, that was too much, but that's okay because I couldn't really get a good read on what was going on with my borders there. And I just want to take a tiny little bit off of here because it's ragged. There we go. And then there we go. Perfect. Got some green on the background there, but it's not too green, so it doesn't show up weirdly. And let's see. Let's just pretend this is all on the paper the way it needs to go. Oops, I'll move it down a little so you can see the whole page. I like this, what's happening here. And I have two fairly large, so I need to play with that a little bit. I wonder if I just have this, no, like that. I make this, do I want to go dark or medium? Go to the medium. So I'm going to make a fake background, matte. So this is not even 3 1/4. I want to make a 5 by 7. Is that going to be enough? So if I go down 7, no, that won't be enough. So I'm going to have to go 6 because this is 12. Alrighty. Yeah, we're going to have to do a 6. So we're just going to cut this into a 6. There we go. And then I'm going to leave the textured side as the matte side that I'm showing, because if I use this side, my seam will show up. So I'm going to join these two sides together. Let's see if I can get a nice clean, see what it looks like on the front. Nice clean seam. This, I think, works better. So I'm going to shove these two together. Doesn't matter if they're exactly the same because I'm going to trim them a little bit anyway. Get some tape. Make sure I've got the pressure on them. So I'm pushing it one against the other, taping it down. A little extra. My 4x6 photo is going to go on here anyway. So all I'm going to end up having is a very, very, very fine line. So let me show you what that's going to look like. Get my 4x6 out of here. Actually, it might be smaller. Let's go with 3.5 by 5. Yeah. I'm just looking through my things. Now, it's not going to be a full 4x6. Well, maybe it will be. Look at that. I forgot. So, once you put it down, like you can still see it here, but it's very hard to see that seam up at the top. And it helps me use my, my paper up rather than cutting into a nice unused sheet. So this is going to work out just fine. And I'm going to measure 6 1/4 is what I really, really want. And to help me with that, I'm going to get myself a ruler. This one's too thick. Get my little metal ruler. Slide that under there so I can make sure that I get my 6 1/4. So 6 1/4 is going to be to the end of here. So 6 1/4. There we go. Just double check that. Six 1/4. Yep. Okay. There's my first cut, and then 4 1/4 is easy because it's on my scale. 4 1/4. There we go. All right. And now my 4x6 will sit on there with a nice 1/8 mat. All right. So that is our mat. And as you can see, when you get it all together, it is almost impossible to see. Oh, we're not focusing very well, but you don't see the lines as long as you've tried to match it. Alrighty, so that's our mat. You do see it when I take it apart, of course. Okay, so let's see where we're at here. Now, I am going to start sticking a few things down because I'm liking what I'm seeing. We're going to definitely stick down the borders. Got a little more work to do on that. So, I think I'm going to do a 2-inch from the bottom for this. And I'm going to put that right across the very bottom, but that goes on top. So, let's make sure I notice that my trimming was not exactly beautiful. So I'm just going to take off this little white edge that's along the paper, just carefully into nothing. There we go. This base page is just a little bit shy of 12 by 12, so we're going to fix that. And we're going to get a page that is 12 by 12. Let's see. There we go. That's better. Here's our 12 by 12 page. Again, it is just slightly shy all the way around. Okay. Sticking this down. This is all going to end up in an album, so I'm not too worried about how much adhesive I put on here. And lining it up to about 2 inches from the bottom. Now, because this paper's short, I am going to trim off on that side. This is scrap paper, so you know quality is not top notch because I keep anything that's kind of white or whitish to use in my albums. Okay, so I'm going to stick this down. There we go. I want this, I think I'm going to put this about 1/8 of an inch from the edge all the way up. There we go. And again, I have a little bit of trimming to do because this is just a little bit short. And now this one is going to go right beside. Get that out of the way. 2, 3. There we go. And you can see that a page comes together pretty quickly, and you just need to, you know, take stock of what you got. And, well, my trimmer is a little bit nasty, and trim off that. Alrighty, there we go. So there's our base. Just going to add this piece at the bottom because it is now a doggy page. I'm going to run that right along the bottom edge, or do I? Do I put it up a little bit, or do I? No, I'm going to put it right down along the bottom edge. Line it up with that corner. There we go. And trim it along the bottom here. There we go. All right. There we go. Now, figuring out where everything is going to be laid. Most of my pictures of my puppy are in action, so I'm going to probably do have this horizontal. I like the idea of something up here with this guy, but or maybe so just playing around with how this is going to lay out. I'm going to trim that off so it just lays out on the side. Not liking that all that much. And just sort of thinking to myself, so I have to imagine that there is a photo there. And you know what? That's not bad. I don't mind this too much, considering it's all, I think I'll pop this up a little bit. There's some sparkle on. I'm going to darken that, This is too white for me, so I have a little bit of ink left on here. And just pull out my sticky mat for a minute. Just want to dull down that white a little bit. Really. Whoop. Maybe I need to get a little bit of this on there. There we go. There we go. There we are. I think that'll do it. Just to take down that white a tiny bit. Not sure I didn't pull anything with it. Oh, I did. There we go. There, that's just a little less weight. And it shows up just that little bit more. Nice. Okay, pop dot that. Have that there. And everything's sort of on an angle. Yes, we're going with it. We're going to commit. So this is going to go here. And we're going to get this stuck on there. And I'm going to line up there we go. And I'm just going to trim these pieces off so the lace comes out from the little bit of the indent there. Ugh, I just cut off too much. Of course. Should have been looking at, there we go. But you make do with what you have. We're going to stick that down. Find some bare spots there. Try to keep it aligned with the upper piece. Sometimes I have to stand up to actually do that. So I'm trying to keep the same distance between this side and that side, and the same angle. This I'm pop dotting. I happen to have some random pop dots. I use the leftover backing because you know me, I don't throw at anything. And then I'm going to center that in this space. Looking about there. There we go. And then we have our photo mat. And we're going to line that up in there, around. There we go. And so let's put a piece of repositionable tape on the back of this. So we know where our photo is going. All right, and there's your layout. One layout done with leftover pieces of craft stuff, of things you just finished making. So it is possible. You just have to be creative and willing to sort of mash things together. Now, things that I take away from this. I would have liked to have gone in and edged everything, I think. that would have given it some more depth. So let's see if I can just maybe add that in now. See, it just kind of pops it a bit more from the page. I will do that in my own time, but let's see if we can pull out one more layout. Actually, move that up just a tad. There we go. So there's one. Yeah. Grab another piece of paper that's more 12 inches than not. Yeah, there we go. There's a 12 by 12. Going back to all the stuff I have left over. The original stuff I have left over. And I'm just going to pull this paper out of here so I have access to it. I don't know if I will actually use it or not, but we have it there. Okay, so let's now, oh, that could be a mat for a photograph actually. Let's cut that 6 by 6. A little bit more under there. I'm going to get that circle out of there. Alrighty. 6 by 6 is not your normal size photo, but you could do a 4 by 6 double matted. You could do a 5 by 7 edited. Okay, let's pretend we're going to. You know what? I see that there is. I'm not really thrilled with this because there is this line that looks more like a frame. So we're going to go back and trim that even more. Because it's just, you know, I don't like everything to be matchy-matchy, but when we're talking about geometric shapes, it is kind of wonky if it doesn't sort of look balanced. There we go. That's a little bit better. All right. So we have our mat. We're going to start with that as our mat. Fairly large piece. Now, we have some white. That's white on white. That may work for us. I don't know. We have a lot of this, which might look nice if we double mat. Nope, can't even see what's going on there. This is Coffee with Friends. Actually, you know what I think I'm going to do? I think I'm going to balance our photograph, which will be Friends. So let's assume that's going to be a Friends photograph. And we're just going to do 2 mats so they balance each other out. But I'm going to cut this down to the same size as I have this. And this is 5 7/8 by 5 7/8. So we're going to trim this down to 5 7/8 by 5 7/8. There we go. I'm going to keep that piece because I could use that. There we go. So we have our double mat, our 2 major pieces within the page. Okay, now let's see. I think I'm going to try to anchor them a little bit with some color. And what do I have here? And it's okay to to use up your scraps in this way too, because what you want to do is you want to anchor those pieces to the page so they're not just like floating out in space. All right, now I have some sayings here, so I want to take a look at what I can use. So a coffee a day keeps the grumpy away. Coffee and sunshine. So let's see. Coffee is my spirit animal. Namaste here and drink my coffee. You're the cream to my coffee. All things are possible with a little coffee. Okay, so we can, and this is a bunch of different ones. All right, so here's what I think I want to do. Okay, this might be insane, but I have all these sayings. So I think I want to just fill the background with coffee sayings. That's really not enough. Let's see what else we have here. We have these. And that's not enough. That's already been trimmed off. Here's the cream in my coffee. So we have all of these coffee quotes, I'm going to call them. How's that? There's coffee. I think I'm going to spatter them around the background to create sort of like this will be our focus. This is the balance piece, and I'll have to come up with something for there. And then all these guys are going to be sort of spattered around. And they're all different sizes. So let me just, I think I'm going to put them all down separately and just fill in space. And this is just going to be a coffee page. So we're going to cut these guys up. I'm going to see if I'm going to use the white ones or not. They're not my first go-to because we have a white background. We need to have a bit of color. So I'm going to leave maybe those to the side. And trim these up. White ones go to the side. This one is okay, so I'm going to continue to trim all of these, and I will be right back. Okay, so now that I have got these all cut out, I was thinking that I wouldn't mind seeing a 4x4 photo on each of the larger mats, and because we're doing quadrants, it would be kind of neat to have a quadrant of these guys on either side as well. So to do that, I am going to take some cheap and cheesy paper, that piece that was too small, and I'm going to cut a 6x6 swath. Do I want it 6x6? Let's just double check measurements here. I want this to have at least sort of an 1/8 of an inch border of white, and then this can just kind of jump in there at another 1/8 by 8. So that leaves me a space of, it looks like about, let's try for 5.5 inches square. So I'm going to cut this 5.5 inches square. And you're not going to see any of this paper. It's just so that I can mount the bits and pieces on it. 5.5 inch square, and I need 2 of those. So there's 1 and 2. Perfect. Little strip, you know where that goes. Big strip, you know where that goes. Alrighty. So we're just going to move this aside, and we're going to play with these quadrants. So I need to, I decided that I kind of like that word on white because it kind of pops. And we're going to lay them out. And I'm going to do some distressing on this group of things. I don't mind if they overlap. So it's more important to just make sure that we fill the space so that none of the white shows. You want it to be sort of, see, I got a little bit of space there. Don't want 2 darks together. So I think I'm gonna put that there. Put that there. We have this 1/2 inch I'm not liking. This can overlap. This can overlap. That kind of fits in there. And I'm not liking that leftover stuff. So maybe I'll use some of my scraps to just finish off that edge. Scraps. Or I could finish it off with leftover pieces of tags, just to keep that idea of it being tags. That's a great idea. I love it. Okay, so I'm going to need about 1/2 inch of that. So get this. And 1/2 inches right along the edge of the blade. There we go. Hopefully that is enough. That will make it work. Okay, so now I want to kind of stick these down onto the mat because it's much easier just to put the mat onto the board. Once these guys are stuck down. So trying to make sure I get to the edge. Okay. And this one. Put that right up. Sure it's on the edge. I'm going to do the bottom ones first because I think these guys are going to overlap. Can you see what I'm doing there? And this one too. They don't have to be identical in size because things can overlap on this panel. Okay, this guy is going to go down here. Now, sorry, I'm just noticing that the handle we may need to do it this way. big. The handle on the flower pot. Okay, I see what's going on here. So this actually has to go a little bit under. Oops, tricky, tricky, tricky. So I'm just tucking this under so that it comes right to the edge properly. It just wants to shift, of course. There we go. All right, struggling. So let's just lift this up. Okay, and need some adhesive there. Oops, wrong one. Right, we're going to line it up along the edge. There we go. And those are going to overlap a little bit. And I'm going to trim the excess off. There we go. Okay, then we're going to put our 3 additional ones. This wasn't cut well. There we go. I'm going to keep the peach away from the peach. Kind of center it there. And then the dark green. Can go like that. And then the coffee will go. Whoa! I may have to add a little bit. There we go. All right, not really loving that little bit of white space there. So let's grab a different piece. There, that's, no, but that's green against green. That's too big. Okay, you know what? We're going to center that white bit so it's not so much white all over. Alrighty, there we go. So there's one panel. And let's do our second panel. I want this journal tag because it's going to go next to one of the photos and just give a little bit of information. And let's see how we can fill this in. So maybe something like this, like that. Coffee at the bottom. See, this actually fills the space, which is perfect. couple of little ones in there. I can go there. That's a coffee company one. And Coffee and Good Friends. That can go there. That can go there. Can go there. That can go there, and then I can use a little strip of this. All right, so we need about the same height. Yeah, so I'm just going to snip this off. There we go, and that's going to fit in there, and I'll trim it back. All right, so let's lay a few things down. Lining it up. I think I'll do this one next. There we go. And then this one is next. And I'm just filling the spaces. There might be some overlapping, which is just fine. There we go. This is next. Nope, I'm out of tape. Good thing I have a broken one here. Nice and handy. If you break your tape, you can keep using it. You just have to remember to pull down the plastic so it doesn't get stuck on the plastic. So there's going to be a little bit of white. Not sure if I like that or not. This actually is going to go underneath there. So just keeping my fingers on the plastic and pulling the plastic down. I can still use there we go. All right, hello is going to go in there. That piece is going to go there. So let's get this piece on first. And then if by chance, oh, we got some there, so I just pull that off so it doesn't get in the way and stick to anything. And then my tape is still exposed there. Okay. Now, let's see how this lays out. That's actually going to be down a little bit. And this guy is going to be that guy is going to be right up against here. And then we can put this guy down. Oh, it's kind of neat how that kind of flows in there. And this goes on here. Takes a second or two more to put my adhesive in, but at least I'm not throwing my adhesive out. Okay. And then that one will go in there. It's not exactly the 5 by 5, 5.5 by 5.5 spot. Tape off there. But it will work. All right. And coffee. All right, there we go. So we have our 2 spots. And I think I might want to do some edging around the outside edge. Some antiquing. So I'm going to use my stain ink. And we're just going to go around the edges, give it a little bit of aging. And that kind of pulls it all together as well. And it kind of minimizes that weight a little bit that's left on some of them. Need just a bit more. There we go. Don't want it to be too subtle. If you're going to do it so people can see it, right? Otherwise, why do it at all? Okay, so those panels are aged. Just going to throw some aging on here. It's brown on brown, so it's not going to show up quite as much. But it'll give a sense of some kind of aging. Same with this. Just randomly going around the edges. I'm a messy edger. I don't like to do it so that it's absolutely perfect, because I find then that it looks too planned. Maybe a little more. There we go. A little bit more aggressive. There we are. So these pieces are now done. Get those out of the way. And I think I'm going to go around the outside edge of my white. I literally am just flapping it along the edge there. Not really worried about antiquing it in a natural kind of way. Just giving it some character. There we go. That goes back there. What was that? Didn't need that. Alrighty. So now we have all our pieces. I will have to wipe down my mat later. And okay. So now I want to stick things down. So we're going to stick down. Okay, and I said about quarter of an inch-ish, maybe 1/8 of an inch-ish. There we go. Now I'm going to decide which side I want to have up. Okay. Because this mat has a little bit of a shadow. And it has a bit of a shadow on the edge here, so it looks like it's, there we go. Lay that down. Get my piece of tape, just to throw my 4x4 photo on there. And then this one's going to go down in this corner. I don't even know if these pieces are exactly the same, but it really doesn't matter because this is one of those layouts where precision isn't really an issue. Just as long as we have our same border around the edge, about 1/8 of an inch. Okay. Want to kind of keep things consistent. I'll lift this one over that one. There we go. And now this piece is going to go in there, maybe. Let's see what we like. There's that. And there's that. And this looks crooked. So right away, I need to lift that up because that is looking crooked to me. Yeah, that's better. And then this fits on there. And we get the same border going all the way around the outside edge. So I think I'll flip that on top of this. Except I want this up here because I want that journal spot to be there. Okay, so this is going to go tucked under both those pieces. So let me get it down first. Alrighty, so we're going to tuck that under both pieces. So goes under both pieces, and we kind of line it up with the bottom. So that side and the bottom. So it gives us sort of the same outline edge. There we go. And that, it's going to go over that. We're going to do the same on this side, except that's going to stay down. Let's get that. So panels are fun things to work with. They're not very common. I don't see a lot of people working with panels, but I find them, they can be very attractive in your layouts, and they're very easy to work on and create. There we go. Does that look good? There we go. All right, get our other 4x4 picture on here. That's on over the top. Get some repositionable tape. And there you have it. Another leftover layout. And of course I would write something about my friends in there, the date, whatever. And then the photographs would pop because they're, even though they're on this photo is on an active background, these pieces here make this, because it's all one color, look like more of a static background. All right, and there you have it. Crafty crafting with your stash. This was our first layout, and this is our second layout. Leftover stuff. I hope that helps you get through some of your leftover collection packs, and I will see you next week. Bye.